halls, where the dust is thick and the silence calls. Books tell stories of the things unseen, of foxes wild and spirits keen. Whispers in the stacks they creep, ghostly chills that steal your sleep. Paranormal truths no one believes, they linger here like autumn's leaves. Bibles open to verses dark, stories written to leave their mark. The wildlife outside hears the moans, silent foxes, the forest groans. The last of beasts you cannot tame, a history buff who knows no shame. Paranormal life outside hears the moans, silent foxes, the forest groans. The past of beast you cannot tame, a history buff who knows no shame. Paranormal tales in every spine, haunting truths that cross the line. Whispers in the stacks they creep, ghostly chills that steal your sleep. Paranormal truths no one believes, they linger here like autumn's leaves. Spirits waltz through moonlit air, books fall down as if to dare. Foxes howl in the wooded shade, they guard the truths that time forbade.
All right. Hello. Welcome to the library. It is so good to see everyone here on this very frosty, cold Friday, in February, I should say. Let's get the camera on. There we go. As you can see, Lenny is here, Victor is here, and so is Edgar. We are raring to go. Excuse me. And I'd like to say hello to my loyal friends here that always come by and spend some time with me. Hello, Sven. How are we doing? Bill C. is raring up for the Super Bowl, I'm sure. Hey, Teacher. Good to see you. Stiggs. Theme Do, my brother, is in the house. Tammy Thompson is here, as always. Hollywood. How you doing, Hollywood? Krumel is here. Great to see you, Krumel. Sweet Tea, the author of that wonderful intro song, is here. Ryan here. Ryan was the first to comment tonight, so he's right on there. She's right on top of it. I don't know, Ryan, are you a male or female? I think you're male, right? I don't know. I've seen Ryan used as both male and female, but I think it's in this case it might be male. I don't know. You tell me. But regardless, I appreciate you and thank you for being here. All right, what do we've got here? So tonight's topic is another cold and frosty topic. Oh, thank you, Stiggs. Thank you so much. Thank you for donating a membership. That is awesome. Who got the membership? Bill C gets it. Awesome. That's great. Someone here gets it. That's awesome. That's always the best. Anyway, so tonight, frosty, cold topics continue. Last week we had snow and ice ghosts, right? Now we have ice skating ghosts, or ghosts of places where there's ice skates. How's that? Where people go ice skating. sticking with the wintry theme of things, that we are stuck in the Northeast. We're stuck in this for a while, and we've been stuck in it a while, so might as well take advantage of it and talk about it a bit. So I hope everyone is doing well. Preparing for the Super Bowl, right, Lenny? I don't know who Lenny's picks are. You won't tell me, but should be interesting. All right, so what I have this evening is 4 stories that are in some way, shape, or form related to ice skating. And not really in-depth stories. They're kind of short, which is fine. We don't always have to have in-depth stories. We don't have to have a lot of stories, as long as they're entertaining stories, and I hope they are. So let's begin. Now, our first story is going to take place in Sacramento, California. And the place in question is the Sacramento Ice Rink, located at 1430 Del Paso Boulevard. Now, let me show you what that looks like. Hello, Don McHugh. Good to see you. Let's see what we've got here. Now, there you have it. There you have the Sacramento Ice Rink. Iceland, it's called. And as you can see, it's a very old-looking building, right? Something very reminiscent of times in the past. This was actually built in the early mid 20th century, like the 1950s. It was originally built. And it was built and owned by an individual by the name of Pops Kurth. And he loved this place. It was his life's passion. He loved creating it. He loved running it. He loved seeing the children come and take place and take use of it, ice skate, play hockey. Loved it, absolutely loved it. So when he passed, it's understandable that his spirit might come back and haunt this place. But that's only one of the spirits. There seems to be more than that in this place. So let's talk about them and see what we can find out here. So Pops Kurth, and actually his family was quite a involved family, I guess, in Sacramento. His son was on the town council or city council, I guess it would be. And anyway, so after Pop dies of natural causes, nothing unusual, nothing scary, nothing weird. Things start to happen in the rink. And the things that start to happen seem to be in a very protective way of the rink itself. For example, if vandals are in there, and what I mean by vandals are foolish kids that may want to write their names on things, may want to do some minor destruction of things, I guess, which adolescents might do. Well, this will bring the spirit of Pop Kurth out, because he's very protective of the arena, and he will do things that will try to protect the arena. So these people that have encountered this have usually been people that have done something to damage the arena. Like I said, spray painting a name on it, or writing on walls, or sort of. And some of the things that will happen is they will get touched violently, like clawed by the spirit of Pop Kurth, to the point that you might see scratches on them. There have been also accounts of the ghost manifesting and screaming at them in the act itself. So when they're doing this act of destruction or vandalism or whatever you want to call it, the spirit would manifest and scream at them and scare them away. So I don't know if I can have any problem with this spirit, quite frankly, because he's doing something to try to prevent or protect what he loved in life. So, and what are these people doing anyway? Destroying things. They shouldn't be destroying things. So I am totally on Pop Kurth's side on this one. Now, people have described Pop Kurth as being having unkept facial hair and blood red glowing eyes. So those that knew him in life recognized him, but those that don't just describe him as a straggly old man with glowing red eyes, unkept, kind of disheveled type of look to him. And this was going on for quite a while. And in fact, in 2010, the place that you saw there burnt to the ground. And it was ruled arson, and no one knows where the arson came from. But some people believe that the ghost or the spirit of Pop Kurth was responsible for it because he wanted to burn the place down and see it start over again. Because right after the place was rebuilt, it was rebuilt again, and it's operational. People began to see the spirit of Pop again. But this time he was very happy. He was smiling. He was smirking. He wasn't disheveled. He wasn't angry. He was very happy at the new place, how it was built. So this is an interactive spirit that kind of likes what's going on. Now, whether he was the cause of the spirit, the fire in question, no one knows. It might have been just, a vandal. But regardless, the place was rebuilt after the 2010 fire, and Pop Kurth seems to be very happy, and he's a very positive spirit since the fire. There haven't been any interactions of him scratching or, harming people at all. So who knows? Maybe that's what he wanted to see happen. He wanted to see the building rebuilt. Now, there's also some other activity, paranormal activity that goes on in the rink. One is that ghostly hands will touch shoulders of people as they're skating. So they're skating around, and out of the blue, they'll feel a ghostly hand tapping them on the shoulder, touching them on the shoulder. They'll turn around to see who's there, and no one is there. Some people that work there at night say they hear the sound of a baby crying, which is an eerie, creepy type of thing. And there's been no record of a baby dying or any tragedy involving a child there on the premise. So it's unusual, and there's no real explanation for it other than that they hear this crying sound of the baby. It has been known to see orbs, 4 of them, going together and circling around the rink. All 4 of them circling around the rink together in unison, which must be quite an interesting sight. At night, 4 orbs appear and circle around the rink. No one knows why. What is that all about? And there's also an additional ghost that manifests himself. And he manifests himself in the coffee shop. Now, the ice rink has a coffee shop that overlooks the rink itself. The ice overlooks the ice. So you can sit at the coffee shop and watch what's going on. Many people have said they've spotted an older gentleman sitting there in a long coat with a fedora hat, wearing gloves, and reading the paper and watching the ice, watching the skaters go round and round on the ice. And some people say they will interact with him, actually, that he will interact and have a discussion with them about the people on the ice at the time. If there's a competition, he'll comment on how wonderful those skills are. If there's a hockey match going on, he'll comment on the score of the hockey match or hockey game, whatever you call it. Or he might comment on the general population skating around, on how happy they are and how much fun they're having as they're skating. So he's a spirit that lingers and enjoys watching. Enjoys watching as if he was his normal time to go in there at the coffee shop and watch the skaters. So it's an interesting, very benign spirit there. So you have Pop Kurth, the founder. You have this unknown individual, who hangs out in the coffee shop. Excuse me. And then you have these orbs and sounds and these ghostly hands that touch people on there. Who knows? Kind of an interesting menagerie of spirits. Hello, Donna. Hello, Gerard Sarcelli. Hello. Good to see you guys. Thanks for coming in. All right. So that's Sacramento Ice Rink. That's the spirits of Sacramento Ice Rink. So that's your first story. And that's located at 1430 Del Paso Boulevard in Sacramento. So interesting. All right. Now, for our next story, let's go over to Illinois. Let's go to East Alton Ice Arena in Illinois. Now, let me show you what this place looks like, if I may. All right. Excuse me. I don't know what's in my throat tonight. A frog in my throat. Something's going on there. I don't know. Hello, Kelly. Good to see you. All right. So this is East Alton Ice Arena in Illinois. Now, the interesting background story to this place was that this place was started, it was a grassroots effort to create this place for local families who wanted to have their kids have a place to play hockey. So they went into fundraising and obtained enough money to actually create this place. So it's not that old. It was built in 1995 and it's been in operation since. Local kids can come there and join leagues and play there. So it's a wonderful story behind this place. So what is the issue with the spirits? Well, there has been spiritual activity noted in this place. Now, what the group of parents that bought this land, or actually they didn't even buy the land, it was donated to them, by the township. But what they didn't realize is that this structure was built on an old Union Civil War fort, as well as a small Confederate prison where Confederate prisoners were held. So a Civil War history behind this on this site. And as a result of that, people have had accounts of seeing a Civil War soldier quite often on the premises. Now, he's described as wearing an old-fashioned military uniform, a shell of a jacket with shoulder straps like you would see an officer wear during the Civil War, buttons down the front, a large belt, trousers, boots, as if he was riding a horse riding boots, and a wide brim hat. So your typical Union officer, primarily more so like a Western officer, much like a plain cavalryman that would fight the Indians, the American Indians in the plains. So it's that's what you're looking at. You're seeing a spirit like that. Now, what does the spirit do? He doesn't do much, but he shows up enough that they've named him Rinky. That's his name. His nickname is Rinky, obviously because it's a rink, I guess, an ice rink. But they affectionately call him Rinky. Now, he said to who might appear in the stands at a particular time, often he appears in a corner of the structure alone. Late at night, he'll manifest there. Some people have seen him outside the rink. So they see him around a lot. He's not very interactive. No one came forward with a type of intelligent interaction with this spirit. But many people have seen him. And it's a hearkening back to the Civil War fortress that was on this location. Now, there's also been sightings of orbs. Now, this is interesting. In the prior story, we had 4 orbs that would circle around the rink, around the rink. And in this case, there have been accounts of hundreds of orbs appearing and manifesting, taking over the entire rink area. Now, the only thing I could think about that is that there might be a lot of spirits that died there, either in the prison, either in the Confederate prison or in the Union fort, maybe there wasn't any battle there, but maybe by disease, maybe passed away by disease, and they manifest in mass at times. There's been no rhyme or reason as to when or how or where, but they seem to mass, a lot of them mass together, these orbs, and circle again around the rink. So interesting thing to see, I would think, if you were ever there and witnessed this. But no negative interaction with these spirits at all. They're just kind of there. Maybe they're residual, maybe they're reaching out. Who knows? But they're there. The East Alton Ice Arena in Illinois. And Rinky seems to be the head spirit around there. At least they've named him Rinky. Hello, Grateful. Good to see you. All right, so that's your second story. So the first one was in Sacramento. This one is in East Alton, Illinois. 2 rinks that have spiritual activity. All right. Now, let us go on to our next one, which takes place in Central Park, New York City. Now, this takes place in the Central Park South Pond. Now, the pond I'm talking about, I'm going to show it to you in a minute, but if you ever saw the movie Home Alone 2, where Macaulay Culkin goes into the park and there's an ice pond, that's the place I'm talking about. That's where this story takes place. So let me show you where it looks like. Just so you know what I'm talking about here. There we have it. There's the bridge. You can see the bridge. You remember the bridge from the movie scene. And there's the ice pond. And you can see there's a bunch of people standing around there. And if it freezes over, I mean, I don't know in this day and age if they allow ice skating there, but our story takes place in the 1800s, where it was quite prevalent for people to go ice skating there. Remember, they had a lot colder winters. Things would freeze over and stay frozen over. So it was a lot safer, I guess. So it was allowed. But that's where our story takes place, on this pond. Now, the backstory to this one is that there were these 2 sisters. And these 2 sisters went by the names of Janet and Rosetta van der Voort. Janet and Rosetta van der Voort. And they lived across the street from the park. Their father was quite wealthy, and you had to be at that time to live in that location. I guess you still have to be wealthy to live in that location now. But these 2 sisters, this was around the mid 1800s. They lived there. They were born in the mid 1800s and lived there through the 1800s until they died in 1880, around that time. Now, the story behind them is that they were very sheltered. Their father was very obsessive and wouldn't let them go out at all, wouldn't let them interact with boys or men. And as a result of that, they ultimately die as spinsters, both of them. They never marry, and they die in the same year, in 1880, alone. So it's sad from that angle, from that part of the story. But the story goes is that the one place that their father would allow them to go to was the pond itself, to go ice skating. He would allow them to go there and skate. And that became a source of freedom for them. They loved it in this pond. So it would make sense that in the afterlife, they would gravitate to this location, which gave them such a feeling of freedom and empowerment that they didn't have in their day-to-day lives. So how do these spirits appear? Well, they appear in their period dress. They appear in their period dresses. You know, how a Victorian era woman might dress. Bustles, long dress, one in a red dress, one in a purple dress. And it is said that they will manifest on the ice in their skates. But however, the skates are not touching the ice. They're floating above the level of the ice. So people will see them skating about, floating above the level of the ice. They were first spotted in around the time of World War I. So the 1914 through 1918, that time period is where they first started to appear there. I don't know why or what the significance was as to that time period, but that's when the first account of them as spirits came about. They now here's the interesting thing about them. They are there to have fun. They're there to skate around. They're there to enjoy and what they couldn't enjoy. That freedom, I should say. But they will do a little haunting of their own. So if there happens to be folks in the park who, under the sisters' opinion or feelings that they're being too protective of their children, the sisters will interact with them and will kind of go after them in a sense to prevent them from doing what happened to them. It's a very intelligent haunting in that they see the interactions of the living around them, and they seek to interfere to make it better based on their own experience. They're trying to prevent these other children from meeting the same fate that they didn't want to end up with, alone, sheltered, unable to live life because their parents kept them sheltered to the point that they weren't allowed to do anything. So these ghosts will interfere with those type of situations. They may physically push the parents, or will make a noise, or will obviously physically appear in a chance to scare them. And this all happens in daylight, which is interesting to me, in the park. Now, most of it happens in winter, but they have been noted to be seen in the other seasons. So interesting. If you would see these Victorian era dressed women hanging around the pond, who knows? Could be interesting to see. But those are the Vanderroot sisters, Janet and Rosetta, and they lived at Central Park South and died in Central Park South. They died in the house that they were born in, and they lived their whole life in that house. So kind of a sad story from that angle. Hello, Nick. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. So there you have it. The Central Park sisters who haunt the pond, the South Pond. All right. Now, the final story I have is a Canadian story. And it comes from Quebec. It takes place around 1912. Now, I don't have any names that go along with this story, and the story has been passed down the word of mouth, so I don't have many details about it. But it is said that in the year 1912, especially in Canada, or especially in rural areas, the winter months were kind of tough. And it was very tough to get around. With the snow and the bitter cold, it was tough to get around. So there wasn't transportation. So what people used to do is use the waterways, the frozen waterways, as a way to get around, skating as a means to get from one place to another. And that's what this story is about. And I'm going to show you a picture of the area in which I'm talking about. This takes place. Wait, let me show you a picture of the sisters, by the way. This is what the sisters, this is what an artist's rendition of the sisters. It's kind of small, but you can see the Victorian dresses they're wearing as they skate. So that was kind of interesting. I don't know why the picture came out so small, but it did. All right, so let me show you what I'm talking about in terms of this story. And I call this story The Mystery Skater. So let me, hold on. Let's see here. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Now, in Quebec, much like in many areas in Canada, there are these very large lakes that will freeze over for the majority of the winter because it's so cold. And this is an area in question here. This is an example of what the area which I'm talking about. You can see a vast lake, miles long, that connects with rivers and other waterways, and it's all frozen. So basically, it becomes like a road for folks to use during that time period. Hey, Dave T, good to see you. Good to see you. Now, this story is about an individual by the name of William. Now, William had a friend who was getting married, and he was getting married in a town that was 16 miles away from him. And the best way to get there was to skate across this pretty darn big lake. So that's what William did. Now, because he was skating such a far distance, he had to leave the night before to get there in the morning for the wedding. So he left late at night. And you might think, how did he get across this lake in the dark? Well, he navigated his way with the stars, much like you would with a ship. He was following the North Star. He knew that the town in question was north of where he was, and he would follow the star. He'd look through the stars out on the lake, and he'd follow it going straight ahead. And he's doing this as par for the course. So he's doing this for a couple of miles on the lake until suddenly he notices that he's not alone on the lake. He sees ahead of him a distance a skater, another skater. And this skater is dressed all in white. All in white. And he yells to the skater, figuring he would interact, be polite. Maybe they could skate together. Maybe they're going to the same place. God forbid there was an accident. It would be good to know who's there, who could help him, etc. So it was common. He waves to the skater. He yells to the skater. The skater does nothing, continues on its way. So he figures he will catch up to the skater, and then he'll be able to interact with him or her. And I'm not sure whether it was a male or a female, because the story doesn't say if it was a male or a female skater. But regardless, he tries to catch up to the skater and starts going faster and faster and faster. Hey, Dave Cameron, good to see you. I haven't seen you in quite a while. Good to see you, my friend. And however, he notices the faster he goes, the faster the skater goes. So he's keeping pace, but he's never gaining any ground on this mystery skater. And as he's going, this is going on for quite a while. And to the point where he decides, well, wait a minute, I'm following this skater trying to catch up to them. However, am I going in the right direction? So he looks up to the sky and he notices he's not headed towards the star. He's not headed no longer on course for the North Star. So he thinks maybe I should veer off and go back, try to get my course back so I can go in the right direction. But something draws him to the skater. Something inside him draws him to the skater. And he doesn't change course. He follows the skater. And he does this for miles, for 6 miles. He follows the skater. And it was until the dawn, when the first lights of dawn came, that to his surprise, the skater vanishes in front of his eyes, completely vanishes and is no longer there. So obviously this skater was some type of spirit. And at that particular time, he looks around and realizes that he's almost exactly where he should be, even though he did not follow. He wasn't going in the right direction. He had followed the skater, and what the skater had done, instead of taking him a direct route across the lake to his destination, the skater veered him off into a stream or a river that took him around another way, but ultimately ended up in the same location. It may have taken longer, who knows, but he got there. So he wasn't really concerned about that. And at that particular time, he gets there and he goes to the end of the lake where he's about to get off, take off his skate, and he looks out, and what he sees in the direct course was that the lake had started to melt, that there was actually water showing out in the middle of the lake where the route he was taking was. And if he had taken that route in the dark, in the night, he would undoubtedly have gone crashing through the ice and met his end there, and was only saved by this mystery skater who veered him off into this other direction and got him safely to his destination. So this was a benevolent spirit that was out there to help a fellow skater navigate this treacherous waterway in the dark night. So it was a spirit sent from above, I guess. Could have been an angel, could have been just a friendly spirit, who knows. But thank goodness for William that he encountered this ghostly spirit skater, because it prevented him from meeting his end. So an interesting little positive story there of the mystery skater out on the lakes of Quebec in the year 1912. So a cool little story there, for not negative at all, very positive. So very cool. All right. Hey, Zelda, good to see you. I didn't know you were here. Great to see you, my friend. All right. So those were your 4 stories for the evening. You had the mystery skater, which we just did. You had Janet and Rosetta van der Voot. You had East Alton Ice Arena with Rinky, the main spirit there. And then you had Sacramento Ice Rink, Iceland, as it's called, where Pops Kurth is the main ghost that holds court in that arena. So there are your 4 ice skating stories for this February 6th, 2026. All right. So I hope you enjoyed those stories. We have a light crowd this evening, which is fine. But I know that Todd Father can't come around. He won't be around for paranormal videos. But I do have some. I could show them to you. Why not? I don't know if Wasada's around. I haven't seen him in the chat. But in case he is, I'll drop the link just in case. Hold on. But I'll go through them anyway. Wait, what happened there? That didn't work. Oh, there we go. Hello, CG2. I didn't know you were here. Good to see you. Okay. So let me. All right. Now, let's see here. Let's look at our first paranormal video. By the way, it was interesting last night. I'm going to veer off for a second and tell you a little thing that I encountered. About 4 a.m., I was awoken out of a deep sleep by the sounds of a pack of coyotes howling like the devil outside my window. And it jarred me out of my sleep. And I jumped up and I went to the window to see where, and I couldn't see anything, but I could hear them. Like howling like mad out there in the night. So it was kind of a creepy experience last night. And the moon was half full. It was like a half moon. So you could see it the light shining off of for the snow, but I couldn't see where the coyotes were, but I could hear them, and there were plenty of them. Now I don't know if they got a kill or what happened there, but it was pretty creepy to wake up like that at 4 a.m. and hear that and not see where it was coming from. That was pretty creepy. All right, let's see here. Let me get one of these going if I can here. All right. Let's see here. Share my screen. All right, now let's see. Which one is this? Let's see what we got here. What have we got here? All right, this is someone's security camera in front of their house. Now, as you can see, there's someone, it looks like on a bicycle, but they vanish right in front of the house. But to me, it looks like they're pedaling on a bicycle. But then when they get into direct, they vanish. So I don't know. What do you think about that one? It's almost as if they they disappear, like they dematerialize as they go across. They like move into the darkness. So I don't know what to think of this. I mean, could a camera glitch show up like that? I guess anything's possible, but what what would cause the camera for something to vanish like that? An image of someone disappear like that. Let's see. Let me see is there anything in the background that we can use as a clue here? There's light there. Now, what is that? Is that a person over there? I don't think so. No, it's just light reflecting off of something. All right. Well, is that a person? See, I think that's a person sitting in the background there. I don't know, because it reflects much like the image of the person going along here. Now, are they pedaling a bicycle? I don't know. It kind of looked to me like they're moving pretty fast, that they could be pedaling, or maybe they're just walking. I don't know. But they vanish right here. They dematerialize right there, as if they turn to dust. And as they're doing it, let's see. Now the car passes, right? The car passes, the truck, whatever this is, passes. And then as it passes, that's when they start to vanish. So I don't know if the larger image of the truck kind of, I don't know. Or a scooter. Gerard said it could be a scooter, yeah. I wonder if the larger image of the truck, pulled the light away from the camera, so it looks like they're vanishing. Because as you can see, the truck is all lit up, right? So it's got all kinds of light on it and everything. So that might be it. That might be what caused this. Because the car's lights shine on this person. You can see them, right? Then the car passes, and then they just vanish. So interesting. Cromel said thermal imagery. I don't think it's thermal, though, because you could see. I mean, I think that's just the light reflecting. I don't think that was a heat thing. That was the light reflecting off of them. See? But I do think that it could, so much light from the truck and the motion of the truck could pull the imagery away from, the camera imagery. The camera could be focused on the truck and following the truck, and then, you know, the image of the person kind of just disintegrates. So I don't know. It is weird, Zelda. Definitely weird. Yeah, it's definitely weird. You know, I have a security camera in my house. I've never encountered anything like this. So I don't know. It's very strange. All right, let's stop sharing this. Let's go on to the next one. Now, this one, is a still image of that was taken from inside the house. Inside a house, a kitchen. There was a camera in the kitchen. The story goes that they were awakened by motion on their camera in their kitchen. And this is what they find on their camera. Now, I'm wondering why if this is a camera, if this is a video camera, why is there only a still image here? Why don't we see the actual moving camera image? I know that when my motion camera goes off, it shows me a video. It doesn't just show me an image. It doesn't just show me a still image. It shows me a video. So from that angle, I think this is a little bit suspect. But it's certainly creepy to see something like this in your home. I mean, the thing itself looks very, it looks just very creepy looking. Hold on, there it is again. Looks like a face. It looks like a mask, maybe. I don't know. It looks like it could be like a Halloween mask. But these are the stairs leading to the kitchen, and this appears on it, and it's just very, very creepy. Very, very creepy looking photo. So, yeah, right, Nick. It's really creepy to see that. Now, it could very well be a staged photo. Someone puts a Halloween mask on, walks up the stairs, the thing takes a picture. That could very well be. I don't know, but it certainly is a creepy thing to see if you are startled awake by this, or you see something on your camera and this is what you find. Very, very creepy. All right. So, I mean, this one's easy to do, easy to fake. So I'm not even considering it as a possible paranormal. I think it's just creepy looking. That's why I wanted to share it, because it would scare me. All right. Let's get rid of that. All righty. Now let's go on to this one. This is another still image taken from a security camera inside a house. Now, same thing. Why don't we see the video? I mean, this to me, it's probably just a person who the camera, it was blurred. They were moving. The camera was blurred. And because of that, it looks like a creepy image. So they took it and they said that this is a paranormal picture. I don't think it's paranormal at all. I think it's just, and it looks like the person's holding a purse. Might be a woman holding a purse or a bag. I don't think it's paranormal at all. But again, it could be creepy looking. It could be very creepy looking. But again, why is it just a still, right? Why is it just a still? Why wouldn't it be a moving video if this is a security camera? All right. So that's a failure also. I don't think that's paranormal either. Now, my last one, got one more for you. Hey, Noel, how are you? Let's see. This is my last one. Now, this is taken in a bar. You can see, here's the bar in the front, right? You can see the stools in front of the bar. It's taken at night in a bar, a security camera again, but taken at night in a bar. So watch what happens. The person that's on there just appears and then disappears. It zooms in a little bit. Let's see here. Now, this looks like to me, again, looks like somebody carrying something in their hands, like a briefcase or something, or I don't know. But, you know, it looks like they're wearing a hat. It's just interesting to me. And I think what happened was the camera picked up on them as they came in the door, and the camera picked up on them over here. It took a while for it to pick up on them. That's why you don't see them until they're here. This is probably where the camera went on. Probably came in through the door to the left. Camera motion didn't pick them up until here. And they're moving so fast in the dark that it blurs them out as they go out of frame. So I don't think this is a paranormal ghost at all. I think this is just one of the drawbacks of those security cameras that work on motion. So there it goes, out of frame, and it blurs out of frame. You know, comes. So the picture the door opening, the camera doesn't pick them up until they hit here. They start walking in, the camera doesn't pick them up until here, and then they come out of frame. So I'm going to say it's a bust from a paranormal perspective. I think that one's easy to debunk. And there you have it. There you have your last paranormal video. 4 of them, all of which I think were easily debunked. However, that one was pretty creepy looking. But all in all, I think, easy to debunk. Not a big mystery around those. A Zorro mask. So anyway, guys, well, that's all I had for this evening. I had my 4 ghost stories. I had 4 videos for you. I don't know what else is happening, or I'm going to get out of here and go watch some television or do something else. I don't know. Right, Lenny? We'll blow out the candle and we'll call it a night, I guess. So anyway, the Super Bowl is Sunday, so please let me know what you think about the Super Bowl. Hopefully, I don't know. I'm going to someone's house to watch it. I usually don't watch the whole thing because it, to me, usually gets boring, and I don't bet on the Super Bowl. So it's, most people get into it because of the betting. And I rarely watch the NFL anyway. I watch college football during the season. I don't really watch the NFL, so I have no idea what the teams are or what they're doing. I know it's Seattle and New England, but I have no idea about the teams. So if I were to actually bet, I'd be betting in the dark because I don't know anything about them. Oh, thank you, Zelda. Yes, you can watch them on rerun. Absolutely. You certainly can. Anytime. Yeah, have a great weekend, Noel. So everyone out there, as always, thank you for joining. Thank you for hanging out with us for a bit, listening to my tales, and spending some time with some friends in the chat. Always good for that on a Friday evening. It's cold out there. Believe me, it's cold out there. So Fiendo is still awake, too. That's a record. There was a bar at 4:30. The front door would be open. Supposedly the girl that was killed by a customer that left that night. Crazy story. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait. There was a bar at 5:30. The front door would open. Supposedly the girl that was killed by a customer that left there. Are you talking about that video? That's what that's supposed to be? Interesting. I don't know. It's even cold in Florida and all. Yeah, I know. I hear it. I'm told. My son is there right now. He said it's cold. So, yes, Thea was sleepwalking, I think. I'm not really sure what he's talking about here. Unless she's 5:30, I don't know, but something at 5:30, I don't know. But it could match that one ghost video with the coming into the bar. I don't know if that's what he's referring to. I don't know. He's talking about Irv's Inn. Where is that, in Buffalo? No, I don't know. I'm not familiar with that. Hey, Gianni, how are you? Good to see you. I don't know. If he drops a bomb and then he leaves. What happened to him? If you're still here, if you're still listening, I will drop the link again and you come up and explain what you just said, because I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, one of Thedu's stomping grounds. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that video was not from one of his stomping grounds. I can tell you that much. Yeah, I think he is sleepwalking because he's gone. Where'd he go? He's like Norton from the Honeymooners. If you're still there, Thedu, there is the link. Wake up. Wake up, Thedu. I'll use my spooky voice. Gianni saying hello to everyone. Johnny, your trip is coming up soon, huh? Your Sicilian trip, your annual Sicilian trip is coming up soon. That's a way to escape the cold, right? Nowhere near as cold there as it is here. The 12th, all right. The 12th, he is there. Excellent. So get ready and take pictures and post them. Post those pictures on your page, because I'm sure we'll all want to see it. All right, here we go. We're getting an explanation. Here we go.
I should have just fell asleep. Well, why?
Let's hear the explanation here. What's going on?
I was sleeping, and then I was listening to you, and I had to type. I don't know why I typed that. Okay, it's more of a depressing story than anything.
Okay.
But I mean, it's your field.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this bar, and this, of course, drunk driver. The situation the whole time, and supposedly killed this young girl. And every time 5:30, 5:45, that front door would open.
Oh wow!
Okay. And that was the time he killed the little girl. So, and I experienced it one night.
So the door would open. The front door would open itself, like it would just open on its own.
It would either creak real slowly, or it would swing open real fast. Wow. It came in all different forms. Wow. So nobody could ever say, wow. Everybody would be like, wow, that did happen. But one day it happened. When I turned around and looked at the clock, the door opened. I was done. Oh, That's the only reason I'm telling the story, because I witnessed it.
You saw it. Yeah, you saw it happen. Wow.
I witnessed it.
Yeah.
So, you could say it was a snowy night, windy night, and Dakusi, whatever. But at that time, that door opened. So,
yeah. Oh, well, Noel says it's too much Jack Daniels or Crown Royal, he said.
Tell him to go eat an iguana, okay?
An iguana ice pick, ice pop.
Tell him to go have an iguana over there. All right, I'm going back into Palmer land.
Thank you for the explanation. I appreciate it.
All right, Goomba, love you. Have a good night.
All right, bye-bye. All right, so there you have your explanation. And that's a really creepy story. I mean, that he witnessed it firsthand. And I don't know if it's the ghost of the child, probably the ghost of the child that was murdered, right? Or by the drunk driver, right? Yeah. So, I mean, that's just really creepy. And to see that would scare me too. So I would be a believer there if I encountered that. He's got more, Noel says. Well, he'll have to save that and come back at another time. He's always full of surprises, Thindo, always full of surprises. Thindo versus the creaky door. All right, guys. Well, anyway, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out. As always, I appreciate it. And have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. And whatever else you're doing. If you're not into the Super Bowl, enjoy whatever else you're doing. And I will see you all next week. Let's pull out our candle. And until next time, on behalf of Lenny, Victor, and Edgar, I say, stay scared. Hit the like button on the way out and help us out. Appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. God bless you all.